Math and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you today?
Well, my bad week has only gotten worse. So I told all of my woes to Mary Kate before we got on, but I did leave one out that was updated today. Um, Sadie was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and so now she's got to be on medication twice a day forever, I guess. It's only $30 a month, which is nice, but it
Yeah.
is, then she'll have to do full blood panels every like twice a year. And that's why she's like more lethargic than she should be and like all this stuff. And so it's apparently not like uncommon in older dogs, but like
Yeah.
it's just sad. It just sucks. Like poor Sadie. And she seems fine. Like she's acting like a normal dog. Like, I mean, she is
Yeah.
sleeping, but that's just always kind of been Sadie. So I wasn't that like
Super.
concerned about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I learned that today. So that just added to my list of things that I have to deal with again in the next month because we have to do a checkup in a month for after she starts the medicine. Um but on a normal note where things aren't always bad, um I am moving in a month, which I think I've mentioned. If I haven't, I am. It's not my choice. But I did get like half of my apartment cleaned out like I wanted to today. I took off work because I was like, I have so many things that I have to do and so many things that are in the way right now. And so I got a lot done, and I listened to And That's Why We Drink and cleaned out half of my apartment of things. I mean, not like things I'm keeping, but things I'm getting rid of. And so I feel like I'm
Nice.
on a good schedule because I'll be out of town next week. So I have to get as much done this week as I can because
Good.
technically
Yeah.
my lease ends on Easter. So that's not really a time to do things.
No.
Um, which as you can imagine. So I'm just like going through some stuff, but
Mhm.
I'm figuring it out as we go. So we'll see
That's
where I am a month from now, and hopefully it's a better place. Um, how are you?
I'm okay. What? I as you all know, my school is closing and it has not been the most honest or well handled situation. I have a lot of negative feelings to a lot of people right now. And one of the situations I'm dealing with is the potential loss of PTO days. Um, so I'm just taking a shit ton of days off. I just looked at my calendar and I don't work a full week of school until April 29th, like the week of April 29th.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing at work, and they don't like it.
Yeah,
I have things I have to take care of.
so that's one. Yeah, no, actually for the oh no, because yeah, I am working that day. Yeah, but then when I look at the rest of the calendar, I have 3 weeks in the entire school year left that I will be there for 5 days.
Nice. That feels very
Which is
exciting.
it does feel very exciting. Unfortunately, I haven't with everything that I've been dealing with, I haven't been able to focus in like weeks. Like I'm behind in my schoolwork, I'm
Mm-hmm.
behind in grading. Like I can't focus on anything except for Harry Potter Legacies because it's the only thing that gives me any joy right now.
I started a new game too, but I'll talk about it next episode.
Okay. But the today I got a serotonin boost. No, not today. Yesterday I got a serotonin boost. And I called Dan. I was so excited because yesterday I was checking my emails like I do every morning. I check all four of my email accounts because I have four email accounts that I have to check every day. And I got an email about a comment on a YouTube video. So I looked at it and someone commented a productive and reasonable conversation comment on one of our Stargate videos on YouTube. And for the first time ever, it was someone I don't know.
Oh, hello. Welcome. Thank you.
Yes.
What did it
Um,
say? I
it
obviously
was
can't see it.
no, it was a comment about an actor who was in the Stargate Origins movie who is also in Stargate Atlantis, and they commented on it and asked if they missed in our discussion us saying that that actor was also in Stargate Atlantis, and I responded that I didn't because we haven't talked about anybody who's in Atlantis because you're completely spoiler free. But I was like, but don't worry, like when we get to Atlantis, we will like circle back
Go
to that. But
backwards. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it
Oh,
was like an
that's so
actual
nice.
legitimate comment about an actual thing in our
Ugh,
episodes, and like someone actually like listened to enough of the conversation to have that comment, and I was
ugh. Thank you,
it was
friend.
my yes, so thank you. Their YouTube account did not have a real name on it, so I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you.
Okay. And you made it through the Origins one? I feel like that was kind of messy.
It was.
So you
So
are in
yeah.
it then for the long haul if you made it through that
Right.
one and you were still on board. So
So
welcome.
yeah, yeah.
Can't wait till you get
So
here.
yeah, so maybe we have people who like us.
Ugh, we've been getting I've been looking at the back end streams and stuff and
Yeah.
trying to keep up with like video counts. I don't click on them to see the comments, but I try to look at the stats and we've been rocking a little bit
Yeah,
lately.
I've
So,
been looking YouTube makes the stats more accessible than
mm,
Spotify. So like when I log in, I can see things easier. YouTube, like the back
yeah,
end of YouTube makes the stats more accessible than the back end of the um
yeah.
Spotify for podcasters. Um so I know we've been doing pretty well on
Yeah, because it
YouTube.
also only shows Spotify streams, doesn't it? Almost
Yeah,
Spotify.
the
And I know we have a lot of listeners, I feel like most of our listeners are not Spotify.
Yeah, but most of our listeners
Um,
are like on Apple Podcasts or other like third-party
yeah.
podcasting apps. So I don't know how we're really doing on that end, but I do know that our YouTube has really been pretty consistently increasing. So that has been nice. We still are nowhere near monetization.
One day. One day. Well, don't worry. Spotify changed all their rules for also for musicians. And now, I don't know if you know this. I've been angry about this for a while now. A month. I think it's been a month since it happened. They
Yeah.
have changed all of their rules that they now do not pay Spotify artists until on any songs that have less than 1,000 streams. They still get publishing, which is 80% less than the label side. But they don't get on the master, like on the sound recording side, unless it's reached 1,000 streams. They
So
enacted
what you're
that last
saying
month.
is, so what you're saying is we've come to a point where Spotify has increased its platform to the point where you actually are better off getting a label than trying to self-produce on Spotify.
Well, no, because even with the label, if you're not getting it, it doesn't matter. Like,
Mm.
because like I mean, we have a label and we have artists that don't get that, but we don't, because you can't promote. I mean, there's playlists through Spotify, but there's no real like promotion tools, I guess, other than like we have distribution that does promotion to
Yeah.
playlists. And the only way is like to get streams. It's turning into more of a they're like, it's not gonna affect anyone. And I'm like, literally everyone I know is gonna be affected. But it's turning into a market share, which they like to do in the music business because they think it's the most fair, but it just means Universal gets all the money and the little people don't. So, because also like within those market shares, a lot of times they don't break it down between 100% of their catalog. It's going to go to their top earners. Are going to get more too. Like,
Yeah.
so it's a, I've already got some beef with Spotify this year.
I love that. I don't. I hate it, but mm.
Yeah. So if you like people that play music, please listen to them until at least it says that they have 1,000 streams on that song because they're not going to get paid otherwise. And that's stupid. And they're like, and I get that it makes it easier for them, but like, hire more people then. They just fired their entire staff.
Yeah.
Like, I know one of the guys I work with, his fiance works there, and like, she's still there, but her entire team got fired. She's the only one left from her entire team, and she was in the creative department. Like, stop firing people. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
So
so
So weird. Sorry, I'm looking at our Spotify backend now just because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
We've had 2 episode plays today. One
Oh,
is
that's
well,
good.
yeah, one is yesterday's episode, and one is the first episode of Bates Motel. So
Interesting. I looked like 3 hours ago and it said we didn't have any plays today, so that's good.
yeah, it's
Um,
okay. Oh, somebody was going ham last week.
I saw that. We had like 15 plays in one day from someone.
Yeah, I'm like, all right,
Good for you
go,
guys.
go for it. But yeah, so
But yeah, I think it's only Spotify that it shows in the play count anyways.
yeah,
So and you can look at your pie chart and it'll tell you like how it's broken down between people. In case you
yeah.
wanted every analytic about Spotify that you could have. I've spent years researching literal like 8 years researching Spotify. So
Yeah,
I'm here to give
only
you all of them.
23%, only 23% of our listeners are Spotify listeners, which means that those numbers are only 23% of our numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
well, I
also
can't
that
even
means
find
only
the term
23
here.
per, but that also means only
There is one.
23% of our numbers are eligible for monetization.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of it comes from Overcast and Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
And then we have
So
some web browser, Castbox, and other.
well, Castbox is me. I know, I know I use
Do you even
Castbox.
listen to us?
I've listened to 3 episodes.
Oh my God. So no, Castbox is not you because it makes
No,
up
it's not.
7%. There's no chance that is you. Because
I
I'm
mean,
Spotify.
yeah, no, I
And so I
listen.
used to be Apple, but then Apple
Mm.
Podcast broke on my phone for like 8 months. And so now I've
I
switched to
know
Spotify.
I know Bree listens on Apple Podcasts. I know Dan listens on Spotify.
My
I
mom
know
listens on Apple Podcasts, I
my
think.
uncle listens on Spotify.
I don't know who listens on Overcast, so thanks for listening.
Yeah.
All of
I
you
yeah,
people
no
that's our
no
most
one
listened people.
yeah, no one I know uses everyone I know either uses Apple, Spotify, or Castbox. So thank you to our Overcast listeners, whoever you
Yeah.
are.
I only know Spotify and Apple people, other than like your people that use Castbox. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, so Overcast is our biggest group. So our biggest group of people that listen are people we don't know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. We love you.
If you could interact with us and let us know who you are and talk to us, that'd be
Yes.
so great because
We love an interaction. We are
yeah.
like 5-year-olds when it comes to being
We
interacted
yeah.
with.
As you can probably tell by listening to this podcast, we're fucking miserable all the time. We just want someone to love us.
We do. Please love us. And we will talk to you all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and we will do whatever you want. Like we are so easily swayed by people that we know
Yeah.
like us. So
Yeah.
like if you're like, this is the show you should do, like done.
Yeah.
We're on
Except
it.
for when Doug
Except for
tells me,
Stargate.
except for when Doug tells me how to do my Stargate podcast better so that
Oh no.
I can play, like, do it for less time. He's like, why don't you do 2 episodes a week? And I'm like, why don't you suck my dick?
Well, Doug doesn't count.
No,
Although he should be here soon. He'll be
he will
on the
be here soon.
podcast either this month or next month. I don't remember which
Next
one.
month. Next month.
Next month. So we do love Doug,
Yes.
but he doesn't count.
And Monica will be on the podcast this month.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Are you sure?
I wasn't supposed to tell people that. I forgot that we didn't
Oh
announce
right.
that.
We were gonna make it a surprise. It's fine. We're gonna have some guests coming up. You don't know who they are. Never heard of them.
Never heard of that.
So I think that might be next month.
No, because she's recording on
Wrap up,
my
right?
yeah, she's recording on my birthday. I thought I did the numbers.
What is today? What are we doing?
Today's the
10,
4th.
11,
We're doing
12,
10.
13. There's 13 episodes, so it'll be the first.
Yeah. Oh, will
The
it?
25th is the 13th episode, which she's more than
Somehow?
welcome on for too, but
No, I somehow did the math wrong when I told her when we were recording, but that's fine.
that's okay. Just push her back.
Okay, so that's fine. Well, we have no guests in March and 2 guests in April. It's all fine.
Ooh, how exciting.
Yeah. You know what else is exciting?
Is it that I'm always wrong in Stargate when you give me hints?
Yes, but also that you like to spiritually guide me through this bullshit life that we live.
Oh, I do. Where's my phone? I do like to do that. I've been sending you co-star links, I feel like all week, so I've been practicing.
Oh, I didn't check mine today.
We're compatible.
Oh, are
That's
we? We're
basically what it's.
compatible today?
Uh-huh.
Great.
Um, I don't remember if I read this or not because I read something similar if I didn't. So I'm going to read it again because whether I read it or not, we still need it today. So I'm like 95% sure I read this one. I see you on the days you move mountains. I see you on the days you don't get out of bed. Whichever day it is today, you're beautiful, strong, and brave. I just wanted you to know. Stephanie Bennett Henry.
I love that.
Thanks. It's probably been a couple months, but I do think I already read that.
That's okay.
But yeah, I think it said we were compatible today. I've been checking it like every
It did.
day incessantly
I
now.
if you want to know what it really says, stay tuned till the Thursday episode because I will be getting my inspirational quote from CoStar, but then I will also share what it says about me and Courtney because it's hysterical.
Nice.
Um,
Mine does not even have you listed here. Maybe that was yesterday. We were compatible.
oh no, we're still compatible today. I just checked it.
Okay.
Um, it is quite funny. Um, so
Can't wait.
today, things that are a little less funny, um, we are going to talk about Stargate Season 5, Episode 11, Desperate Measures.
It's wild. It's wild, guys.
It was rated 7.4 stars,
That feels
and
low.
it does feel low. I don't know that I agree. But it came out on Friday, September 7th, 2001.
Friday, September 7th. Oh, so it was the first episode after. Oh, wait, no, it's
No,
the last one before.
it's the last one before.
I was
Um,
like, where is the date? What happened?
no, well, it's the weekend before 9/11, but the reason that that's important is because a lot of the shit that I'm about to tell you about this
Okay.
day and how the things in history change from a
Right.
retrospective perspective. Um, so the top song was "I'm Real" by J Lo and Ja Rule.
I forgot that song existed. Oh my
Me
God, I have
too.
something else to tell you on the next episode. I've already forgotten.
Okay. Okay. Um, the top book was Valhalla Rising by Clive Cussler, which is part of the Dirk Pitt Adventures.
Mhm.
I have never read any of them. I've never heard
I
anything
haven't
about
either.
them.
I've heard of
But
that book, but I don't
yeah.
know like anything about the
So
series or anything.
apparently, they are thriller books about a guy who works for like a military agency that's called the National Underwater and Marine Agency, and he's like a yeah, he's like a diving spy. But it's because Clive's job before he became a writer was, and like what he actively did was he was an underwater explorer. Like he scuba dove for a living. So like
Oh, fun.
that's amazing.
I was just about to say, I'm going to write a book about a detective who used to be a lawyer. And then I was like, there are so many
So
books like that out
many.
there.
That
I was like,
is
wait,
like
that's not new at all.
no,
Never
no. I
mind.
mean, you could write a book about a detective that worked for a music company that used song lyrics. No, write about the
You can't use
murderer
the
and they
song
used
lyrics.
no,
You
you
can't
don't
use
have
song
to
lyrics
use
in a
real
book.
song lyrics. You just say that they used
Oh, I
song
see.
lyrics as their murder and you can like write songs for the book.
Oh, don't take this idea. I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be super fun. Okay, I'm doing it. Don't take it.
Okay. Okay,
I'll sue
perfect.
you.
Sorry, the girl who is gonna do my hair for my wedding is asking for um inspo pictures and I want to send them to her. So I'm trying to like multitask and I'm apparently not
You're doing
as
great.
good at
Well,
it
I
as I
can
thought.
talk about
Um,
how I want to do this. I'm concerned if I were to write something like this, it'd come off like a Daisy Jones and the Six situation, which is not detective at all. I did finally read that book.
oh,
But
did
like they made up their own lyrics and they're not always as good. I'm not a songwriter, but
yeah,
I have
but
friends who are
I was gonna
songwriters.
say you have employees that are
I
songwriters.
have employees that are songwriters. Yeah, I have
So you
connections.
just credit them
Uh-huh.
and they would do it for you. It'll be
That's true.
great.
That's true. I
Um,
love it.
so where's the don't know. Can I just fucking download pictures? Why do you hate me so? Pinterest sucks. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the number one movie that day was weird because I have never heard of it. And I think that it is
Okay.
entirely a result of the when it came
Of
out.
the what?
The when it came
Oh,
out,
I see. I see.
because like coming out right before 9/11 kind of
Mm-hmm.
ruins your
Ratings?
ratings, your people's desire to be in the movie theater.
Right, right, right.
Just
Sure, sure,
not
sure.
exactly everyone's cup of tea. Um, but it was The Musketeer.
What's it
Uh,
about?
it is based on the book The Three Musketeers. Um,
Okay.
but it starred, this is how I don't understand how I didn't know that it existed. It starred Mina Cervani, Tim Roth, and Justin Chambers.
Nina Cervani, is she the one who was in sorry, I'm trying to see if
Or Suvari, sorry, Mina
she's
Suvari. She was in American
oh, okay, that's
Beauty.
not who I was thinking of. Oh, okay, that's not who I was thinking of. I was thinking of
Yeah.
Cervani. No, I can't even think of her name. It's fine.
Are you thinking of the one who was in Deadpool?
No, I'm thinking of the one that was in Candyman. And
Oh,
because this was also around the same time she got blacklisted, and I was wondering if that had anything to do with it. Um, but oh, this is the new one. I need to know. Oh no, this is the old one. She was also in the show with Lisa Kudrow, the reunion, high school reunion. You know what I'm talking about? Oh
no.
gosh, it was my one of my favorite movies. Um, so and so and so and so's high school reunion. That's the name of it.
Oh, yeah. Um,
She was the one that was not Lisa Kudrow. That was the one.
Romy and Michelle.
Romeo and Michelle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Mira
she was in Candy.
Sorvino.
Mira Sorvino. That's what I thought you were saying. And I was gonna
Right.
say, yeah, this was when she got blacklisted by
Why did she
what's
get
his face? The guy
blacklisted?
who's the guy, Roman Polanski blacklisted her when
Um,
she spoke up against him.
oh, because I was like, wait a second. We don't dislike her. She
No,
was
no,
just
we
on
love
Dancing with
her.
the, yeah, she was just on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, was she?
Like, yeah.
Ugh, I love her,
Um,
but no, it was not her fault.
right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but Justin Chambers, that's Alex Karev. And Tim
Hmm.
Roth is a lot of things,
Hmm.
but he's Tim Roth. So I was
Tim Roth
very
is a lot of
confused.
things.
But I was very
Yeah.
confused that I had never heard of it. To be fair, I probably wouldn't have seen it when it came out because I was 9.
Sure, sure. You wouldn't have known him as Alex Karev because I'm that way. If I see stuff before I know who they are, I don't know that they were in it still, even if I saw
Yeah,
it.
but I did know him because he was also the gay wedding planner in the
Oh,
movie,
right.
yeah, the with
Mhm.
J-Lo.
Was that
Um,
before 2001?
no, maybe,
That feels 2003-esque.
maybe that sounds right. Um,
We are giving you so many facts today,
yeah,
in
you
case
guys.
you
No,
wanted
Wedding
them.
Planner was in
2001.
2001. It was in 2001.
Huh,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, so I would have known him.
interesting.
Weird.
Came
Anyway,
out
it's
January
because
26th, so you would have like super known him. Yeah,
yeah. Um, it's mostly because I'm avoiding all of the on this day things that I need to talk about. Um,
sure.
so on this day, there was all of the things I have to talk about sort of have to do with New York City. But there was a 30th anniversary concert, a celebration at Madison Square Garden for the anniversary of Michael Jackson's solo careers, and he sang on stage with all of his brothers.
How fun.
Yeah, so that one's a good one. Um, the Ryan Adams music video for New York, New York was shot and filmed on that day. And so the Twin Towers are in the background, but because it was filmed that day, it didn't come out
It
for
was
like
released way later.
way later. So like there's a whole thing in the beginning of the video of like this was filmed on September 7th, 2001. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. And then this one, I read this news article and literally cried and like had goosebumps on my
Okay.
whole body. Um, on September 7th, 2001, there was a warning sent to all US citizens living in Japan and South Korea to prepare for terror attacks. And the Pentagon said that there were concerns that Osama bin Laden was looking for a public venue to explain his anger, but they don't know why that went out, and they have no military concerns at this moment.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Right. And like the fact that like that was the CNN headline on the Friday, and like in the article, it was like, we have no concerns. And then 3 days later,
I wonder if it was that guy that no one wanted to listen to.
I don't
You
know.
remember that guy in the military that no one would listen
Mm,
to?
yeah.
I wonder if
So
it was something
like
he did.
that's insane.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so I had a really hard time taking notes for this episode because I just got
I
like
can
really
imagine.
emotional about that. Because I was like,
Yeah,
news for September 7th, 2001. And then I went into a fucking rabbit hole about the
sure.
Pentagon. And I was like, and of course, then I watched this episode where we're in a fucking rabbit hole with the Pentagon. And I was like,
Right.
I am not emotionally stable. Period. Like, not even like not enough for this, like, just period. I am not emotionally stable.
Right.
Um, yeah. So, nothing good ever happens except for Michael Jackson.
Yay. Go see
Um,
MJ if you're in New York.
or if you're in Buffalo in
Oh, right, it's
June,
touring.
May.
Go
It's
see
touring
him
right now. It's
in
coming. It'll
general.
be here in like May, I think, or June.
That's
I
good.
don't remember. It's the last show
That's
in our
good.
season,
You'll
though.
like it.
Um, well, as long as you have a good MJ. I don't know who the kid on tour is.
True, I had a stellar MJ. I think I
Yeah.
saw the one that won the 20 for it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where the lead will make or break the show. Like there are some
Hmm.
shows that if you have a decent lead, but they're not stellar, the show's still
Yeah.
successful. This is not one of those shows. Like it would be like if you
No,
had
but
watched Tina with a bad Tina.
oh my gosh, yeah, no. This one is like it has they handled the story really well though, I thought. Too. Like aside from that part being amazing if you have the right person, the story is really
Yeah,
good too.
yeah.
The way they handled it. So,
All right. Well, this story was directed by William Garrity, written by Joseph Molisi and Paul Mully, and edited by Rick Martin. The guest star is Bill Marchant, um, who played Adrian Conrad.
mhm.
He was known for Strange Empire, Everyone, Chappie, and In My Dreams. I've heard of
So
zero of those things.
I saw his name and I was like, I think I know him, or at least
Yeah,
someone related to him, but I couldn't
yeah,
figure out how, and I didn't want to look it up because I don't want to spoil anything.
yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know if I know him from something, but he
The
sounded
pro
so familiar. He looked familiar too.
Yeah. He looks super familiar. Like his picture on IMDb, I was like, I know this guy. I don't. I literally went through his entire IMDb. I have no idea who he is or why he looks so familiar to me. Um, but he's a playwright and a director. He's done stuff in New York. But also he is the head of the department of the act, or he's the department head for the acting program at Vancouver Film School. Um, he does produce and write a lot of music, so he works with a lot of music producers. I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
I'm trying
maybe
to
that's
remember
why I could see if
the.
I'd seen him.
I'm trying to remember what album he has coming out soon. It's not him singing, but he was producing an album that's coming out sometime this week. Um, I'm obsessed with his Instagram handle.
What is it?
His Instagram handle is vegetable.
Just vegetable?
Yeah, but it's spelled Vegetal because his name is Bill. And I'm obsessed with that. I would like to be
I
his
love that.
friend just for that. Um, No, I don't want the vegetables. I want the vegetable. Thank you. Um, Chase Coulee is the artist whose album he produced that
Hmm. But I don't know. That doesn't really sound familiar either.
okay. Most of the things on his Instagram are pictures of his acting classes at Vancouver Film School. Um, but yeah,
I have no idea.
yeah. So, he is vaguely familiar and I wish I knew why. And or that I knew anything more about him, but he has the best Instagram handle of all time. So
I like
there's
it.
that. There's that. Um, okay. Okay. So we start this episode weirdly at a Russian military checkpoint. And then the guards shoot everyone on the truck and find a Jaffa on board.
This is another one I ended up having to do a lot of like rewinds throughout because I was like distracted and then like seven things would happen and I was like, oh no, oh no.
I did not make a note, of when the credits were, but I do know when they were. Weirdly, that scene with the Russians and the Jaffa is not where the credits start.
Nope.
Um, then we see Sam just walking down the street, leaving the gym, going to her car, and she gets abducted by a bunch of men in a white van, and a homeless man is just standing there watching her, and then we get the credits.
Yeah. And that's
So
when I was like immediately I was like, oh, I was wrong. It was not Daniel getting kidnapped this time around. It was
I
Sam.
laughed so hard because I was watching it and Dan was cooking and I just started laughing and he was like, "Why are you laughing?" Because he could obviously hear it and it was not
That's not
like
a funny
funny. There
part.
was no
Right.
dialogue to be laughing at. And I go, I give Courtney a teaser every week for the episode and I told her that this week someone was going to get kidnapped and she immediately assumed it was Daniel and he goes, "I mean, I get it."
See? I'm
But
very logical. I'm just wrong.
yeah. So then after the credits, it is now Monday morning, and Sam did not show up to work. So the team is trying to find her. She was last seen leaving her house Saturday morning, and her car is still at the fitness center, but there are no witnesses. And Sam Hammond is like, "We don't have jurisdiction outside of the space. Like, we can't take military action to find her." And Jack's like, "No, but we can look for her. Like, that's
Yeah. We don't just write it off that she's missing.
right." Yeah. And then Sam wakes up strapped to a bed at a hospital, and there are doctors running tests. And then we leave again.
It's no good. It's no good.
No. Um, Jack goes and finds the homeless guy who was watching the whole situation, and there is a very long and drawn out conversation that is not necessary but funny. And
Right.
he tells Jack everything that happened, and Jack still seems hella skeptical. Um, but
I'm
he
sure.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the guy started talking about being in Nam, but then just saying he went on vacation. And like,
That was the funniest thing. I was like, okay, let's what
and
a way.
so Jack, who apparently has a box full of National Geographic magazines in his closet, says he will bring them back to the homeless man. Um,
Liar.
but actually, no.
I know.
Weird. Jack has a heart. Then Jack has Daniel go on to one of those old weird secret NID websites that we saw in the chain reaction and reach out to Mayborn by leaving a message that just says, "Hutch, we need to talk."
Starsky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always so funny when like Daniel has to do stuff like this and Jack's just standing over him and Jack he always gets like super aggravated, super annoyed. I'm like, Jack, you can't do this. You have to
Yeah.
have Daniel there and he's telling you it has to be done this way. Like You
Yeah,
can't
but
get annoyed that it's
also
taking longer than you want.
whenever Jack has information that he has not given all of the information to people, but then still needs them to do things, even
Yeah.
though only he has the information, the look on Daniel's face is always so priceless. He's like, what the fuck? Like, he's like typing this, like, what the fuck am I
Yeah.
writing?
And he's like, don't worry, he'll get it. He'll get it.
And he's like, who are you even reaching out to? You're like, he's like, don't worry about it. If my boss was like, I need you to send this secretly coded email to the dark web, I would have questions.
I would have questions. I would have lots of questions. But he's got to protect his bestie.
Right.
So
What a fucking odd couple. Um,
I know.
But so then we go back to the weird doctors, and they were doing like blood tests on Sam, and they find that her blood has the protein marker and the naquita in her blood, but like obviously they can't identify the naquita. And they're like talking about it, and she tries to get up out of bed, but she's like heavily drugged and like falls all the fucking way over and crashes into everything. But she manages to like get a scalpel and hide it. Um,
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't want to blow
then
my nose on camera.
okay. Um, You're depriving our sneeze fetishists.
I know. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Um, Jack goes to give the homeless guy the box of magazines that he said he was gonna give them, and turns out Harry is there. And Jack is like, "This is what's going on," and he's like, "Genuinely, I know nothing." And he's like, "I don't believe you." And he's like, "No, like I really genuinely don't know where Sam is, but I will tell you right now, you and I both know the kind of people we're working with right now. You need to prepare yourself for the fact that she may not be getting out of this alive." And Jack's like, but Mayborn says you need to contact user 4574.
I wanted
Did
nothing more than that to be someone's birthday.
um oh
It's not.
so my next question was, did you remember that?
Hmm. Oh, from where it came from?
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought it was brand new.
No, it was not. So in the last episode, in the episode where they thought the episode with Lieutenant Tyler and the secret alien that was not really a part of SG-1, but they all thought he was, and they weren't allowed to use the computers. And Sam hacked into the computer to see the personnel files, and they said that there was another hacker that was in there, and it turned
Mhm.
out to be Colonel Simmons. That is
Oh,
user 4574. That's why when Jack called Hammond, remember, Jack was never a part of any of those conversations because he was still on the planet with Lieutenant Tyler. And so
right,
when
right,
Jack
right.
called Colonel Hammond and said user 4574, that's why Hammond and Daniel looked at each other the way they did because they immediately knew that Simmons was involved.
I did not remember that. I did really want it to be someone's birthday though, and so I looked up all the cast birthdays to see if it was like they were born in 74.
They're
Um,
way too old to be born in 74. What the
well, I know
fuck?
if like maybe there was a guest. I mean, it was 2001. It wasn't like they would have been like
I know,
27,
but like,
28. Maybe
yeah,
someone
but
on there was.
MacGyver premiered
Well, I knew it wasn't
in
Jack.
1985.
I knew it wasn't like Jack, but like I was like, I don't know how old Daniel is. I don't know how old like some of these other people are. So I checked.
Yeah, no, I think Daniel's the youngest and he was born in 1970.
See, that's really close to 74. See,
Sure.
it was logical.
Yeah, no, Amanda Tapping was born in 65 and Christopher Judge was born in 64 and Richard Dean Anderson is older than both of them. So,
Right. I knew he was, yeah, I knew he was not in the running. I knew he was not in the
no, no,
running.
no. Yeah, no, Michael Shanks is the youngest and he is was born in 70. So, um anyway, also John Delancey, who plays Colonel Simmons, was also not born in 74, just so we're
I
clear
didn't
on
even look
that.
him up. I did not even look him up. I was like not even trying.
So actually, I need to know if anyone's birthday in the world, like of famous people, was on that day.
Oh,
Um,
like whose birthday is April 7th of
yeah,
1974?
well, April 5th. Um,
Oh, 457. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Anyone sci-fi-y?
no.
Mm.
A
Or like what if it
defensive
was one of
tackle
like their
for the New York
kids?
Jets.
Could have been like Donis
Well,
Davis's kids.
yeah, maybe, but I feel like that
Not
would have been
Daniel's,
in the
obviously.
trivia that we
I know, I thought
read
it might
earlier.
be too, but
Yeah,
I looked anyways.
yeah, but it was not. So anyway, um, Jack goes to the Pentagon to confront Simmons about all of this, and like he is particularly douchey, and he points the finger straight back at
As
Mayborn.
always.
He points the finger straight back at Mayborn, who was receiving secret money from who knows where. And the
Hmm.
thing that pissed me off about this was clearly Simmons was just covering his own ass, but also he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Rude. Um, so then we have a quick glance at Sam, who wakes up and starts cutting herself free. Um, and then we go back to SGC, where Daniel has dug up all the dirt on who is paying Mayborn. And there is a company that works in like everything. They like make all of the things. It kind of sounds like the Elon Musk of 2001. Um,
Yeah.
and the CEO hasn't been seen in 6 months, and his assistant authorized these secret payments to Mayborn. So that's good.
Just
But
slightly
then,
sketchy.
but then we get a clip of Harry going to see said assistant. Um, and he's like, "Where is Sam?" And she's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And he's like, "That's not true. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, we both know what you did and what I did." And she's like, "Now that you have your money and our deal is over, I have no association with you anymore."
Which like is how work for hire works. You don't owe them any information
That's
after you've
true.
paid them.
That's true.
But also
Um,
you can't kidnap people. So,
like, right. So then Mayborn leaves and he's in the parking garage, and Jack confronts him in the parking garage and gets his gun from him and is like, gets in the car. Um, And the doctor comes to ask Sam some questions, and he tells Sam that he knows that she's had an alien symbiote, and she like sticks to her cover story. She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I work in deep radar telemetry," which every time someone says deep radar telemetry, I'm just like, do you even believe the words coming out of your own mouth? But the other doctor is with Diana, the assistant in the hallway, and he's like, they're trying to decide what to do if Sam doesn't talk, and they mention implementation. And then it turns out that they have a Gould symbiote. Yeah.
I feel like we're going
Um,
back to that like darker side.
yeah,
Like it's not so far it's not as dark as I've been expecting,
right.
but based on like when we first started talking about this, was it Red Dawn or something, or Red Sky or something?
Yeah.
Um, this feels like it's kind of getting back to that
Heading
like,
back to
oh,
that
we're
really
going
dark
dark.
stuff.
Like we're about to
Yeah.
start implementing people like with things and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
implanting. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Words are hard.
Um, in the conversation in the car, Mayborn tells Jack that he sold them the symbiote from the secret Russian Jaffa. And I mean, to be fair, would I rather have the symbiote in the hands of a scientist who is probably going to fuck it up, or the Russian government?
Okay, yeah, fair. And like a scientist who's like relatively for the United
Mm.
States. What does NID stand for again?
Oh, the National Intelligence Defense or something. Something.
Yes, like
It is.
theoretically they're for the US still.
Yeah, but the
Um,
scientist doesn't work for the NID. They work for this private sector company. They work for Adrian Conrad's company.
oh, I thought they were tied in with the NID though, is what they were
Well,
saying.
they might be, but the National Intelligence Department is the NID on the show. Um, but they have secret behind the strings ties to the NID but technically No.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Um,
But yeah, no, I'd rather them have it because at least they're not likely gonna try and like
use
kill
it
the
to
whole
kill us.
world
Right. Um,
necessarily, even if it's not good intentions.
yeah. But so Jack and Harry break into the doctor's office, which is not where he currently is. He's currently at the hospital. But so they break into the doctor's office and they steal Adrian Conrad's medical file. And it turns out he has an incurable disease, and they may or may not be trying to use the symbiote to heal him. And they're like trying to come up with a cure without implementation, which is why they kidnapped Sam, because they know that she survived a Gould being in her system
Mhm.
and then not anymore. So they find the hospital and they go out to find Sam. Um, Sam escapes her bed and is like trying to get out of the hospital, but then Adrian stops her and tells her that he like needs her or he will also die, so he's not going to let her go. Um, and Adrian and the doctor tell Sam what they're doing, and she's like not amused.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Um, Adrian is too sick, like he like starts coughing and dying like mid telling them what's going on. And so they like decide to go ahead with the implementation, even though they have no way to remove it. They're just gonna hope for the best. And they were like, yeah, at least put the restraints on it. And Doug goes, why do they never put like the hardcore restraints on people? Why do
yeah.
they always? He's like, why does no one ever question this?
Hmm.
But so SG and the SWAT arrive at this hospital to like get Sam out, and the doctors implant the gold in Adrian, and like the pain that leaves him and everything's going to be going great, but like they still have no way to get him out. And Diana's like, like, what do we do now? And he's like, well, honestly, we don't know, because the only like direct answer would be to like physically examine Sam's brain tissue, which Adrian like never approved of because he didn't actually like want to kill anybody, because as much as he's kind of like a selfish prick, he's like not actually.
He's not like trying to take a life to save his life.
Yeah,
He's
he's
just
just like
doing
trying.
everything but.
But yeah, and he's just like, if I succeed, I will not only save my own life, I will like be a medical breakthrough. So like,
Yeah.
but yeah. But Diana doesn't give a shit, and she's like, do it. So then Daniel and Teal go in one door of the hospital while Jack and Harry go through the back. And they're searching the hospital. Adrian, Goulded, uh, restrained Adrian, tries to convince Diana by sweet talking her into letting him out of the restraints because he's still normal. Nothing's wrong. He's not being controlled
It's
by
like
the
it
symbiote.
hasn't taken over me at all.
The doctors come back in the room to kill Sam and take her brain tissue, and Jack and Harry come in just in time, save Sam's life, and Daniel and
As you do.
Teal find Diana dead and Adrian missing. Um,
Not a good sign.
Jack leaves Mayborn to watch the doctors and is like, "Are you going to be here when I get back?" And Harry's just like, "Yeah," which we all know he won't.
Is a lie every
Is a
time.
lie, but the team searches the buildings and Daniel finds handcuffed doctors, sans Mayborn. They're gone. And Jack finds Adrian and he's ready to shoot him. But then Simmons shoots Jack from behind and helps Adrian escape. Um,
This guy.
yeah. Sam finds Jack, calls for an ambulance. Jack is angry and thinks Mayborn double crossed him. But then we have a scene where Simmons has Adrian hostage and is in negotiations with him for information. And that is the end of the episode.
Kevin sucks, dude. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's just such a pain.
I do have some trivia. In fact, I
Yay.
actually have some really great trivia. Um,
Ooh.
because I have now just decided to like read all of Joseph Malosi's like vlogs and interviews because he makes me happy. Um,
Sure.
but couple things. Obviously, there was the reference to Starsky and Hutch. Then while they were breaking into the doctor's office and searching through the computers, Mayborn is trying to convince Jack to like give up the military and come work with him in like secret intelligence because he'd be really good at it. And Jack says, "Okay, G. Gordon." I don't know if you know what that is a reference to.
I was thinking it was Flash Gordon, but I know that's not what G starts with. Like Flash
No,
doesn't start with a G. But that's the
no.
only thing because I did try to come up with my brain with it.
No, G. Gordon Liddy was arrested and convicted on charges of conspiracy, burglary, and wiretapping as part of the Watergate scandal.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, so he basically is like, all right, we're not working for Nixon.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. Also, the line that Jack says, where he says, I'm just a cynical Air Force colonel with an army full of, or with an army with a closet full of National Geographics. The original script said a closet full of Playboys.
Oh, but that's lame for this show.
Right. But then the best part about it was that they decided to change it, not because it didn't fit the character, because Playboys absolutely fit Jack's character,
Sure.
but because National Geographics fit Richard Dean Anderson more. He, as a human, was way,
Yeah,
way, way less likely to have a closet full of Playboys than a
right.
closet full of National Geographics, which just like endears me to him. If I wasn't already in love with him, which we all know I absolutely am,
Hmm.
that just like jumped him up on my list by like a million
No,
steps there.
absolutely. I
Um,
knew that was a Richard Dean Anderson thing.
oh yeah. Um, Another fun thing that I found out from Joseph Malosi, there was a lot of dialogue that was cut from this episode because in the original script, the two doctors who like kidnapped Sam were really
Mhm.
funny and like had a lot of like banter. And then the executive producers basically like sent a memo down the line and was like, you don't need this much comedy. Richard Dean Anderson's funny enough as it is. They basically were like, why would you have guest stars take the jokes when he's supposed to be the funny one?
That's so funny. Uh,
Which,
and
for
this is a
fun,
dark episode, so you gotta leave a
right?
little
Yeah, but they
darkness in
were
it.
like, yeah, but they were basically like, you have like the funniest actor ever.
Yeah,
Don't ruin, like, don't give guest stars the big zings, which is,
exactly.
I
Unless they're
think,
Dom DeLuise.
right. But I think that that is like very reminiscent of how shows like that are made and like
Mhm.
how production really works. And it's not like, oh, this episode is really good. We love your writing. It's like, okay, these are great jokes, but can you give them to a different actor?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Also, this episode stood out a lot in Moses's memories of what he worked on with filming and everything, but not necessarily in a good way. His biggest memory of this episode is Daniel and Teal'c running up and down stairs. Because if you watched the episode along with us, you'll notice that there was a solid, like, 6 minute chunk of the end of the episode that was just shots of people walking around the
Running.
buildings with really
Hmm.
dramatic music playing. And that
Yeah,
is because with all the changes that had to be made and the direction that they took the episode, it ended up being so insanely short that they put like a fuck ton of extra chase scenes in. And his only memory of like shooting was just how many goddamn times they just filmed people walking around hallways.
that's so funny.
And like I had read that interview before I watched the episode for the notes. Because obviously like I've seen all the episodes before, but so I don't
Mhm.
spoil anything for me, but I always do my notes before just in case there are things like the time that like the note was that Daniel mispronounced a word and I was like, "Oh, I'm not even going to notice that." And then I really noticed it. So like I like to be looking for those things when I'm watching it. If it's a show
Yeah.
I've never seen before, I don't. But when we do rewatches where I'm the one who has seen the show, I'll do my notes beforehand because
Hmm.
it gives me a different perspective. Because I knew about that interview, I was watching it and I just go, oh my God, they really are just walking around in circles. That's all they're between the like Jack and Harry in the car having their conversation and the random cutaways to Sam trying to like escape in the hospital and then all of the chase scenes at the end of the episode, there is like probably 8 minutes of this episode that have no dialogue.
That's so funny. So funny. And it didn't really
Which
feel that way, which is good.
it didn't. They did a fantastic job. Like
Hmm.
props to Rick Martin for the editing of this episode. I think it's one of, and William Garrity for the directing. I think it's one of the best cover-ups of a short script I've ever seen. But because I
Yeah.
knew that going into it, I
You
like
noticed it.
looked at it and I noticed it. And it's interesting because a lot of genres of show do a lot with silence.
Yeah.
Like horror does a
Horror.
lot with science with silence because of like anticipation and
Hmm.
lighting and music and
Drama.
drama has a lot of silence because of like heavy emotions. Comedy doesn't have a lot of silence. It doesn't function in silence.
Hmm.
And sci-fi tends to have a lot less silence than people think. Like people kind of lump sci-fi more with horror and fantasy than they do with more like straight like drama and comedy
Yeah.
shows. But sci-fi, especially a lot of the Stargate, Doctor Who type sci-fi, have a lot of dramedy elements on top of
Yeah.
like the science fiction. And so there's a lot, and when you do science fiction, there's a lot of explaining that has to happen. There's a lot of like technobabble and world building that has to
Dryness.
happen.
Yeah.
So for a 45-minute sci-fi episode to have 10 minutes of silence and have you not notice that it had 10 minutes of
Hmm.
silence
Yeah.
is why the show holds up the way it does.
And I feel like sci-fi does do a good job sometimes of silence because it's silence, but they'll usually have like they have a good composition underneath. They have a good music. They have good
Sci-fi
sounds. They
has
have
the best scores.
yeah,
Sci-fi has the
score. That's
best
what I was
scores.
trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Um, and so like it only adds to it. And so it can be silent. And like horror does that sometimes too, and drama does
Yeah.
too, but it's in a different way, I feel like.
Hmm.
Um, and they're a little more repetitive in like a drama or a horror. It's like it's the same one they use kind of throughout, whereas in sci-fi you get different scores and sounds, I feel like, between different
Yeah.
seasons and episodes and
I
shows.
mean, and there are like recurring themes. Like I know Doctor Who, I know a lot more about the music in Doctor Who just because there's a lot more to it in life.
Yeah.
And I know I know a lot of things like each, at least in the modern series of Doctor Who, like in the first up until at least 2016, 2017, whenever Peter Capaldi left, the the each doctor had a musical theme that was like their like the doctor's music. So like
Hmm.
there is like recurring musical themes that
Yeah.
appear in all of David Tennant's episodes. There's recurring musical themes that appear in all of Matt Smith's episodes.
And
But
X-Files does that too.
yeah, but like so
Hmm.
specific like characters have and like in
Hmm.
Stargate, the episodes that lean into the Sam and Jack plotline have a specific score that runs under them. But they do so much with like mixing up the music and like creating different
Hmm.
kinds of worlds with their music. Um and sorry, I'm decided I want to shout out the music for this episode. So I'm pulling. Oh, okay, good. It is. It's Joel
The
Goldsmith
one
who,
composer.
the one composer, he who has
Yeah.
done everything so far. The and then Bob Aarons is the sound effects editor, and Albert Botson is the supervising sound editor. So like props to them
Yeah.
because it
We didn't get
is
bored.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
And
I'm upset
and
this episode was 7.4.
me too. Well, and because I also think about it, like a lot of times when you have silence in TV shows, they rely on graphic elements. Like you
I was gonna
have
say visuals, yeah.
visuals are, and that's why we watch TV and don't just listen to it on audiobook. Like
Hmm.
visuals are such a big part of it. But like, to be frank, the visual of the same four people walking around the same four dark corners 8 times is not
Yeah.
what got me. It was the music and the composition of those
Yeah.
scenes. And so like that's
Because alternatively, I feel like one of the shows that always sticks out to me for being too silent is Drive. And I haven't watched it in a very long time. I watched it in college. And
mhm.
it's got God, who's the star? Ryan Gosling.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
thriller. And so I was really excited about it. And then I remember watching it and I was like, I don't feel anything. Like I watched the whole thing. It was just very silent throughout. And it was like dark and it's thriller. So it's dark and it has all this stuff. And I was like, I
Mhm.
don't think this was used well. A lot of other people have loved the movie. So I was like, maybe I need to give it another go.
Right.
But when I think about silence in films, it doesn't work. That's the first one that comes to mind every time.
Well, and it's funny. I think like the more that we're talking about this, I think that like there's a lot. Obviously, almost every show that exists has a score. There is musical
Sure. Yeah.
underscoring
Hmm.
in a lot of things. But if I think about the music that impacts me and the shows that, like, when I think about them, I can hear the music in my head, the only shows that that is true for are sci-fi shows, or at least
I think about it for
fantasy.
sitcoms too.
I can think of like theme songs for
Hmm.
sitcoms, but
Yeah.
not like
Not like
emotional
instrumental
feeling.
scores.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like not like the scores. Like I
Yeah.
think that the like Doctor Who, Stargate, Once Upon a Time,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I think sci-fi and horror a lot
like
because I can think about
yeah,
like um what did we just watch? The Exorcist has the Exorcist theme, and you have all this kind of
yeah.
stuff. And so like
Well,
some of the more classic horror, not necessarily some of the new horror, but
no,
a lot of the
yeah.
classic horror has a
But I
good
mean, like,
soundtrack.
even, but like, and
Score.
that's what I'm saying, like, even not just like themes, like theme songs, I could sing you everything song of everything that's ever
Yeah.
been a thing. That's my how my brain works. And like, like a lot of shows, like things like One Tree Hill and Grey's Anatomy and things like that, they have really great music, but they're featuring actual music. I'm
Yeah.
thinking
It's
of
not new
just
composition. Hmm.
scoring, just
Like a John
composition and
Williams thing.
scoring, like a John Williams thing. And
Hmm.
like those three, Stargate, Doctor Who, Once Upon a Time,
Star
Star
Wars,
Trek, yeah, Star Wars. Those are the shows where I'm like,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah, but I'm thinking just TV, like, because
Oh, just
movies,
TV. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because movies are scoring is a huge, I mean, it's a fucking
Yeah.
Oscars category. It's like it's a thing. And obviously every John Williams movie ever. Um,
Right.
but like when I'm thinking about like TV shows that like I haven't watched the show in 10 years, but like I will the music is still in my brain.
Hmm.
It's things like that where like it's those sci-fi fantasy, those shows that have that music equaling a magical element to it that like just lives in your brain in a different way. Like if I'm watching a scene on silence, I can hear the music.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a production aspect that gets overlooked a lot
Yeah.
in sci-fi.
Because when you hear it out of place, you can always see it. I feel like a lot better. And
Yeah.
like in sci-fi
Mm,
stuff, like Doctor Who specifically for me is one that I recognize more than others.
yeah.
And so like
I mean, are you
yeah,
kidding?
it's
I want to
absolutely
I'm walking down the aisle to music from Doctor Who. Like it
yeah.
did it just like it does something different in your brain. And like composers like Joel Goldsmith and Murray Gold are like they should be more recognized. People should know who they are. We should put them
Yeah.
like we should look at them the way we look at
Like
like
they should be up there with
Rihanna.
the John Williams and Danny
Right.
Elfmans and such. So
Yeah. So that, I love how like last week I was like, I still talk about production. And then this week I was like, no, but like I'm really gonna talk about production.
we're really gonna do it. We're
Really
listening.
gonna do it. Yes. Um, so with that, who do you want to watch?
Diana. I hated her so much. That's the
Yeah,
assistant,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
hated her so much. She was like super snarky to Mayborn, and then she was like didn't care about anyone living but Adrian. And I just
So
not a
dumb.
fan. Yeah, not a fan.
I agree. I think that that is 100% correct. I am gonna choose Colonel Simmons because he shot Jack
Mhm.
and because he sucks.
He sucks. Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I choose him a lot though when he's there. So
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna see Diana
that's
again.
fair.
I feel like I choose her today.
That's true. She's dead. Um,
Yeah,
who
she's done
was your
now.
MVP?
Jack, because he's just like such a good like leader. Because not only is he good at his job, but he also knows how to like do the things that maybe he's not supposed to do, like working with Mayborn to figure stuff out. Like if he hadn't reached out to Mayborn, he would have never found Sam.
Yeah,
Like so he does what he has to do, whether it's right or wrong, to make
yeah.
everything go well.
I am going to go somewhere that most people probably never thought I was gonna go. I'm gonna pick Mayborn
He would have been my second pick.
because listen, he's a selfish prick.
Yeah.
Like no one's denying that. But this episode kind of proves that like at the end of the day, he is gonna be out for himself, but not at the expense of the few people that he does respect.
Yeah.
And he
Like, and
has
he
come
will
to,
help Jack when needed.
yeah, he's come to respect Jack and understand Jack's affection for his team and thereby respect them also. And like he doesn't trust the government, he doesn't trust the Stargate program, he doesn't trust anybody. He will
Fair.
protect himself at all costs. But he will also put himself at risk to make sure that the other people, the only people in his whole
Mhm.
system that are worth the risk are protected.
But the second it's resolved, he's out.
Oh,
He's-
no, for sure. For sure. He was like, I'm not gonna abandon you. I'm gonna handcuff the doctors and make sure you have Sam safe.
Right.
But then before the government gets here,
Yeah.
I'm outie
Just a smart way
5,000.
to be.
Which, yeah, he was like, I saved the day. I gave you the information. I didn't backstab you, but I'm
Mhm.
also not about to get arrested over it. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
No,
go live
totally
with my
fair.
$3 million in my illegal bank on the Cayman,
Mhm.
and I will see you next time you're fucked.
Next time you need me.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's wild.
I love it.
Next week.
So I couldn't find my remote in time and my TV kept playing, so I saw the first like 3 seconds of the next episode. And so I don't know if it's a flashback. And so I don't know if I assume it has to do with the same thing that's in the flashback. But tell me your spoiler and then I'll tell you
Um,
if it's the part I'm thinking.
Next week is the 100th episode of Stargate. And it is wild
Oh,
and completely unrelated to honestly just about anything.
oh, okay.
But there is a character that comes back that I'm as the one I'm guessing you saw in the
Yeah, that's what I
flashback at the
saw.
previously on. Yeah, we get a return from our friend from Sex and the City that I can't think of his name right now. Um,
Mhm. That was the 3 seconds. I didn't listen to what he said, but it was a
but
flashback, so it wouldn't have
it
like
was a flashback,
spoiled
so it wouldn't have
anything.
spoiled anything. This episode is wildly unrelated to anything that will ever that is ever important in the show because it's
But
a
I love.
100th episode extravaganza.
I'm very excited.
Yes. I so Doug walked in mid-episode for this episode, and he was like desperate. It was paused, so the title was on the screen. He's like desperate measures, desperate measures, and then he like left the room, and then he came back in. And he was like, "Ah, the name is familiar. I can't remember what episode this is." He was like, "I know it's like a at-home government is the problem, not aliens is the problem episode, but I don't remember what is happening." And I explained which episode it was, and he goes, "Okay." And then I told him that that meant the next episode was the next episode, and he just goes, "Yes." So,
I'm very
but
excited.
if that's not the episode he requested to be a guest on, so that just tells you how big this
What's to
season is
come?
going to be. Yeah. So,
Yeah. All right. I'm interested.
yeah.
Hanging on by a
So,
thread. We will be recording it at like 10 a.m. on a Sunday. So we're gonna have
to
so
be
much energy.
fair, to be fair, we're recording at 10 p.m. on a Monday right now, so
Right.
like the
True.
fuck.
And you're driving. So I
Something.
love it. I can't
Something
wait.
like that.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, so if you have thoughts, theories, suggestions, feedback, just want to be our friends, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or find us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And with that, we will see you on Thursday for a Thriller Thursday episode. I don't even know how
It
to
is
describe.
indeed a Thriller Thursday episode.
Bye.
See ya.